Scrap Mechanic Survival is out. The long-awaited update to the sandbox mechanical building game. It's been 4 years in the waiting, and it's finally here. So this video is going to be a quick guide on how to get started in Scrap Mechanic Survival. So first thing you'll notice is when you spawn into a survival map, you're always going to spawn in next to your burning ship. And it's going to face you in a direction where you see these bright green boxes. So of course you're going to be tempted to go see what those are. But I'm going to recommend not doing that. The first thing you really want to do is to clean out your ship to clean it up. So what we're going to do is instead of going this direction, we're going to run over here to this water source. And we're going to find the bucket. And we're going to put out the fire so we can clean our ship up. So as you can see, the water puts the fire out. Sometimes you might have to throw water on fire more than once, depending on how large it is. Other times it's just one toss of water. Alright, so we got most of that cleaned up. So the first thing you're going to notice is there's a place to put a battery, which we're definitely going to find pretty soon. And there's a couple other areas back here. There's some stuff hidden. You have a bed back there. Beds in this game are not like in other survival games. Normally in a survival game, when you lay in a bed, it makes you sleep. In Scrap Mechanic, the beds only actually make you... they create a spawn point for you. So you don't actually sleep. As of right now, you don't sleep. So when you come across a bed, if you lay in the bed, it will just create your respawn point. So if you die from a robot or from falling or whatever way you might have that happen, it will just respawn you back at that point. You'll respawn with the gear that you start with, which is a hammer and the lift and any other tools you have, but all of your other resources will be where you died, so you'll need to go back to that point. It'll be marked on the map with a little loot bag. Alright, so that should be most of it, right? So what you're going to see back here is we have gas, and we have our bed, so the respawn point's here anyway, but you can lay in it to just give you the respawn point. You have some mechanical stuff here, which you can pick up in a little bit, and then we don't really need the gas now, so we can just put that there, because we don't have a car. And I guess here's a tire here. You're going to notice this is a crafting machine, but you need the battery for it, which we're going to find shortly. So we don't need to put those other fires out right this second. So next thing you want to do is go find these crates. So the crates are lit up. They are much easier to see at nighttime. Right now they're easy to see because they're in an open path. But if you see these things, break them because they usually have good resources in them. So as you can see, we're getting a bunch of different stuff. We'll go over that in a second. This is the main thing you're going to be looking for. Component kits. Component kits, as of now, seem to be the rarest resource to find. You get them from the supply crates, but you can also get them from robots. So we're just following this path down here, breaking all these green boxes, collecting as much as we can. Then we're going to take it back to the ship. Here we come across our first building. Now typically, if you haven't been to a building yet, there's going to probably be some robots here, so we're probably going to come across our first robot. And so far, the two robots that I've seen are they're little boxes that they try to electrocute you with their antenna. Then there's the farmer bots. Farmer bots are much more dangerous. So we're just going to head up these steps. Here's another bucket. Sometimes, like the bucket you can see there did not have a indicator on screen prompt you to pick it up. But you should always just, once you're familiar, you'll know what to pick up, but always just try to pick things up, try to break things. So up here, we're going to have our first encounter. These are the little guys. These guys are pretty straightforward in terms of taken care of. And as you can see, they drop random stuff. So this guy gave me a circuit board, and this guy gave me a circuit board, which is great. And more stuff here to pick up. So typically large buildings like this will have supply crates in them, which I guess that's what we'll call these things, are supply crates. And right here, what you're going to see is this is what the larger farmer bots drop. And what you're going to do is you're just going to hold E key down to refine, and it's going to turn the metal that you're getting here into metal blocks. You can access that by going to your inventory right here. So each one of those legs there gives you 10 metal blocks, scrap metal blocks. So make sure you refine those. If you can pick them up, but you can only carry one at a time. So we got our first metal. And one other thing is, if you see these large green chests, as they're called, they typically have resources in them. You can hold shift and just click and it'll put everything in your inventory. Or you can just drag and drop down. But always search those. Alright, here's the thing we were looking for. Here's the battery. As you can see, it doesn't have a prompt, but if you right click, you hold down the right mouse button, you can pick it up. And let's go up top so we don't make sure we don't miss anything. Oftentimes the broken buildings have ways, there's usually a way to get up top. You don't have to build your way up, or you could fall off like I just did. And as you can see, there is fall damage, so that was definitely intended for this video, to show you. So I fell. Your health does heal over time. Typically, you do not... You have to have a very high fall to actually take 100 damage. Although, as I've experienced, if you've taken a couple hits from a farmer bot and then you get knocked off the top of the building, you're probably going to need a respawn. So yeah, definitely plan there. Show you guys there was fall damage. So we're just going to hop one up here. I don't know if there's any... I don't believe there's any farmer bots in this first building. And as you can see, my health's going back up. My hunger, which is the second bar, my thirst, which is the third bar, also deplete. They deplete faster if you're running. So if they're low, just try to walk. And you can obviously replenish them, like in most games, by eating. So for example, eating the carrot replenishes more hunger than thirst. And you just have to experiment with different energy sources. For example, tomatoes will give you more, they'll cure more thirst than hunger. And here we have our last chest. And there you go. Drag and drop, or hold shift and click. This one we're going to kind of be careful so it doesn't fall off the building. Alright, so we got everything out of here. That's cool. Got the battery, so we can head back to the ship. How do I get down without fall? And we may or may not come across our first farmer bot. In fact, before going back to the ship, because once we get back to the ship, that's kind of going to be the end of the beginner's guide. I'm going to look real quick around here, because there should be a farmer bot somewhere nearby. Actually, I know there's definitely farmer bots over here. And if you ever get lost at the beginning, what you can do is look back. That smoke source right there will always be there for your ship. So as you can see here, there's a farmer bot off in the distance. He's just sitting there harvesting stuff, and there's 2 of them, and there's 3 of them. So when you're fighting these guys, what you're going to want to do is hit them and then back up. And they're going to do far less damage to you. This guy might actually kill me. And he killed me, so there you can see. So watch, we're going to demonstrate respawning. Alright, so we respawned in our bed, and we're going to go right back over there. So as you can see, it's not exactly... Normally, if you come across one of them, they're pretty easy to take care of, but in that case, there were 3 of them, and I'm by myself. It is much, much, much easier if you're playing co-op. So if you have a friend or 2 that you want to play this game with, or 3, I know that it supports up to 4 players. It might support more than that. Not quite sure. If you're tag teaming the farmer bots, they go down really quickly. If you're going solo, one of them, maybe 2 of them is easy, but having to deal with 3 can be a little bit rough. So all my stuff's going to be right here. And again, this was all planned to show you guys what happens. So here's all my stuff. I just go in here. If you hold shift, just click everything, it'll give you everything back. That farmer bot is going to be close by too, so I got to be careful. Now, one thing to note, once you place a battery, you cannot take it out, so be mindful of that. They don't seem to be very common. And actually, while we're on our way back there, before we do that, we haven't broken a tree yet. So this is one thing that you may or may not, it may or may not just make sense. So if you hit a tree, I would recommend hitting everything. If you hit something and it breaks, it breaks. If you hit something and you can't break it, for example, a rock. Oh, here's a little guy here. We're going to take care of him. And he dropped us a circuit board. Some things you hit, they'll say your starting sledgehammer you can't break, or you can't, it's not strong enough, or you can't, you need a bigger one. But hit everything just to see what breaks and what doesn't. So one thing you're going to say is you can refine the wood. And you might just think, oh, that's cool, that's what I got. But the one big tip is you can get a lot more wood from one tree. So see, as you can see, Each piece of the tree that you break, you can refine down twice. So that fallen tree right there, I can actually break it a couple more times and get way more wood blocks. And just as the metal, you're gonna get wooden blocks, 10 each from refining wood. So there, we cracked that one open. Crack that one open. We have to be careful because the farmer bots like to sneak up on you. The little guys I'm not that worried about. They don't tend to do much damage. All right, so we got another piece here. Yeah. I think you get the idea. I'm not going to go through and do all these, but make sure you definitely break it all down, and you'll see that you can refine it. It's going to look like this. So all this can be refined into wood. But I think you get the idea about that. And we're going to go back into our ship. And now that we have the battery, we can put the battery in here. So now the ship's been powered up, and you can use your craft bot. So this craft bot will let you craft parts for your first car. It'll let you craft the connecting tool, which you're going to need throughout the game, as well as buttons and switches. At the beginning, you probably only need to craft a car. You can actually search the area around your ship pretty easily without a car, but you definitely want to get a car as soon as possible. So besides that, the other thing you want to do is make sure you search around the entire ship, because there's probably supply crates hidden around here, as you can see. And as far as I've seen so far, these do not respawn, so you just want to make sure you get them all. And a couple other tips while we're walking around here gathering stuff. Number one, from what I've seen, you can put most of the fires out. I don't believe you can put the large fire out, because that is a smoke signal that can give you it'll give you a path back to where you started. And actually, we're near water, so we might as well just hop in here real quick so I can show you guys the clams. Because it might not be too obvious that you can swim in the water, especially when you're holding a giant sledgehammer. So as you can see at the top, we have our health bar. Once that goes down, we will start to take damage. It's 5 damage per second, so you have about 20 seconds to get out. This guy can hold his breath for quite a while. So there was the clam. The other thing we're going to be looking for, you're looking for bubbles, basically. So these spouts over here. So the clams give you clam glue. And then these things over here. And I need to eat something quickly. I don't know what these things are even called, but they give you another resource. So we'll go to the top. I'll show you the resources we have. So yeah, the clams give you glue clam, which you can use later on to craft into other things. You get crude oil, which can be used to craft other things later on. So definitely, if you see a water source, grab these things, because these are from what I've seen, you might be able to find crude oil randomly laying around, but the glue clams are from clams. I've only seen those in the water. The rest of the stuff we picked up some vegetables, we picked up some seeds, picked up a chemical. These are all crafting resources. There's also a farm right by our house, right by the starting house, which we can go to. So we're gonna go back to the ship real quick, and I'm gonna show you the farming. Now, one thing to note, if you plant crops, the farmer bots are gonna come for you when it's nighttime. They will definitely come for them when they are after they're ready to be harvested. How can we not get up here? So, other tip is, if you can't get up something, you can place down your lift. Lifts are what you're supposed to build on. And what we can do is we can take our wooden blocks that we've found, build our wooden blocks on here, and these are recoverable, so it's not like when you place them, they're down for good. Stand on here and just press the up. You can actually reach the mountain, which we're not going to be able to do here. So we can actually... we can miss our jump. It's okay, we just jump back up here. Try to get centered, because it does not... You will fall off. And we don't have any more blocks right now, so let's just go into our inventory. And I'm just doing, like, again, if you're doing this, make sure you recover the blocks, especially early game, because you might have trouble finding metal specifically. So we can just take that, we can place it back over here again. And actually, I think you can just pick it up. So in this case, I don't think we need to do anything, we can just stand on it. I'm not sure if we can get up here or not. Let's find out. We can. So normally I would recover that stuff, but the lift will just come back, so you can take it. And maybe we'll be lucky and find a cow up here. Oh, there's a cow, perfect. So here's cows. So there's two things you can get from the cows. If you hit the cow a bunch of times, it'll despawn, and you can... Hopefully the same cow eats all of them. Did they each eat two? That's okay, there's more corn over here. Somewhere. If you hit the cow a bunch of times, it'll despawn and it'll produce steak. But it's probably a better use of time to just do... There we go. So 3 corn equals 1 milk. And we'll just show you what these guys produce. Sorry, cow. Takes quite a few hits. They produce a steak. I would definitely recommend having a cow close by if you can, just to be able to produce milk, because milk fills up both your hunger and your thirst. So right out when you come out of the ship, when you go straight here where we got the water supply earlier, and this guy is going after, as you can see, he's going after the stuff over here. What's he doing? Oh, he's going after the cow. Okay. So it's the clock in the top left corner is also the time of day. 1 minute equates to 1 hour. So right now it's 4 a.m. So there shouldn't be a ton of farmer bots. And the farming kind of tells you what you're supposed to do. There's plots of soil here. You can plant the soil with the fertilizer. We already got some seeds, actually. You can also break down any buildings, you say? So we're just going to put the soil in our inventory. Put the seeds in our inventory real quick to show you what happens. Soil can actually be picked up, so if you want to have them in a nice neat pile here, you can pick them up. That's good enough now. For the purposes of this video, we're going to plant the vegetables. And we're going to go back. There is a bucket here, by the way, so there's another bucket. So we're just going to go down and grab the bucket, fill the bucket up. If you do it, you can hit 1 at a time, but if you do it in between, you usually can get 2, so... Try to aim between. There we got 2 at a time. The plants will grow without fertilizer, but they grow faster with fertilizer, so if you have fertilizer, definitely try to use it. Unauthorized farming detected. That means there's probably a farmer bot coming. I don't see him yet. He's gonna sneak out of the forest. So before he comes, let's find the fertilizer. So you can fertilize the plants. It'll make them grow. I don't know if they grow twice as fast. They definitely grow faster. But if you don't fertilize them and you just put water on them, they will still grow. And you're going to find that at the beginning of the game, you definitely will probably not have enough fertilizer to handle all your crops. And another thing you can do is build a fence around it. So if you build a fence around it, it'll make it harder for the bots to get in and take your stuff. So yeah, that's about everything for the early game. Like I said, the only thing we did not see was a beehive. Because normally I would have found a beehive. I feel like I would have found a beehive by now. Especially on these giant mountains. But they give you beeswax, and honestly, you don't need beeswax at the beginning of the game. So if you don't find them early on, no worries. You can always come back. But yeah, that's about it for the beginner's guide. If you guys like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Really appreciate it. And if you want more gaming content like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I put out videos on a regular basis. And I also stream over at Twitch. All the links for my socials, including Twitch, are down in the description below. So that's it for this beginner's guide for Scrap Mechanic. And hope to see you guys jumping in this game. It's definitely amazing. It's also on sale right now for the first couple days after launch on Steam, so make sure you go pick it up. So that's it. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video.